Sorry. Okay, so good day and good afternoon, everyone. The reason why we are conducting synchronous meeting class today it's because we're going to continue the discussion, okay, about maintenance, of course, the one that you are seeing right now on your screen. So let's proceed with the discussion. So the most misunderstood about maintenance is the true objective of the function. Okay? Meaning to say, the most misunderstood thing about defining the maintenance is actually not thinking about its main objective or its ultimate goal. It's because the only thing that we are actually thinking whenever that we hear the word maintenance is actually like more of cleaning, servicing, maintenance, repair, overhaul, something like that. But then again, its true main objective is actually to maintain the assets of a company so that they meet the reliability needs at an optimal cost. In a sense of course, since the asset is the most important thing about a company, so it means that we need to optimize its reliability or meet its optimal reliability in order to maintain its full operational function so that it will do its intended function in a sense of giving satisfaction with the customer and it will gain a profit. After all, it's because this whatever that we are actually doing in increasing the reliability of the product or the equipment or item is actually associated with the business or the asset of the company. So that is actually the main goal in here. Okay. Now in Webster's dictionary, it defines maintenance as to maintain, keep in existing condition, preserve, protect, keep from failure or decline. Okay, so it's more of just praises that is associated with doing like in general maintain, protection, okay, keeping failure or preventing failure or declination. Okay, but then again, the ultimate goal of maintenance is to provide optimal reliability, which meets the business needs of the company. Okay. Again, it's more of maintaining assets to maintain as well the production that is associated with the profit of the company. So, dun po lagi. It's because without the asset, then it's not possible to continue the production. Then there will be no profit at all. So, that is the main reason why we are keep on doing maintenance. Okay? So, sir, how about if it's not associated with the business naman? Still, okay, in using the technology in order for you to still continue the production. The profit naman that we are talking is no longer related to financial profit, but more of the output profit that you need and why you bought the product at the first place. So that is considered as well as a profit, but in a different approach. Okay, so now there are actually different types of maintenance. Even if you are going to take a look at different references, internets, books, or whatsoever, there are actually different terminologies that they are using, such as reactive and proactive maintenance. Okay, when we are talking about reactive, it means that from the word itself, there should be a proper reaction first or failure that happened before you are going to do the reactive maintenance or you consider to apply that kind of maintenance. And when we are talking about proactive, it means that you are doing all the means or ways on how you may be able to prevent the occurrences of the failure because it's called proactive. Okay, you're proactively doing the required or necessity maintenance in order for you to um, we can say diminish but reduce the occurrences or likelihood of the failure on a certain product or item. So, but in here, I'm going to give you the five types of maintenance, okay, and the most commonly used words for determining the types of maintenance so that you may be able to know when is the time that you are going to apply those things and how are you going to apply it, okay, because um, they have all the same goals but they differs only of when is the time that you are going to apply it, and how are you going to apply that particular type of maintenance. Okay, so number one is we have breakdown maintenance. Second is we have preventive maintenance or what we call proactive. Ito pong una is reactive. Okay, in preventive maintenance, that is actually divided into two categories or type. We have periodic maintenance or what we call time-based maintenance or TBM, or also called scheduled maintenance that is associated with period or time. And we also have predictive maintenance that is also called condition-based maintenance or unscheduled maintenance. Okay. Next is we have corrective maintenance. Next is we have maintenance prevention. And last is we have 0 hours maintenance or what we call overhaul or overhauling. Okay. Again, everything about that is written on this presentation, which is the types of maintenance, the one that you're seeing right now on your screen, are all almost the same with each other. They differs only in a minimal ways on how to apply it and when to apply it. Okay. So let's talk about first the first one. We have the breakdown maintenance. In this type of maintenance, okay, you only apply maintenance from the word itself reactive whenever that there is actually an occurrence of failure. Okay, in a sense that it makes the function or full potential be lessened. Okay? Yes, Maranan. Same lang naman. Okay. To be lessened in a sense of it doesn't stop the total production of the product, but in a sense of partially having its full potential. Okay? So, meaning to say, it means that people waits until equipment fails and repair it. Such a thing could be used when the equipment failure does not significantly affect the operation or production or generate any significant loss other than repair costs. Meaning to say, for example, if a certain equipment fails, but it's still functioning, okay, but not 100% doing its function, then there is a considered as a failure. And that is something that we need to address. Though it doesn't stop the total production or operation of the product. But in a sense, in order for you to address such failure, of course, it is necessary for you to stop the operation. It's because it's not possible for you to address a certain thing when or the mechanism the mechanism of a product if um, if it is actually working. Okay, so meaning to say, you apply only the breakdown maintenance when there is actually a failure that is happening, okay, or happened already. But then again, considered as partial failure only. Okay, nakukuha po ba natin? Or do we have clarifications with this one or questions? For example, on a body system naman with us, okay, um, our immune system is still working. But then again, there are some sickness that we are actually experiencing that actually affects the immune system of our body. So if we are actually addressing that one, we are applying breakdown maintenance because we are repairing something on the system of the body, which is particularly in the immune system. Or for example, on an aircraft, if it is actually working, more of on the engine to be specific, like gas turbine engine. Okay. For example, there is a dent on a compressor blades. Okay. Of course, it affects the full potential as how it will actually um, collect an air from the outside so that it will be able to compress and make it more effective as how they are going to burn the fuel in order for the uh, GTE to give its full potential whenever that it is creating a thrust. So basically, if you're going to repair something on the compressor blades, okay, or replace it, then it means that you are doing breakdown maintenance. Nakukuha po ba natin? Question po or clarification with this one? Or is there anything that you would like to add? Okay, meron po ba? Or all good naman?
All good po, sir.
All good. Okay, sige. Thank you. Now, next. How about the next maintenance? So, when we are talking about preventive maintenance, from the word itself, preventive, okay, we are preventing or proactively doing our part in order for us to prevent the occurrences of the failure. So, it means that it is not associated with any failure, even partial failure. We're just securing, okay, that there will be no occurrence of failure as much as possible. Though we can't diminish the failure. It's because there is no ideal product or perfect product or 100% reliability. Okay? It's because regardless that we are actually taking good care of the product and putting a lot of protections in a sense of doing or applying preventive maintenance, still there will be an occurrence of failure. But again, when we only apply or do preventive maintenance if there is no occurrences of failure. Because if there is, that will fall down on the other type of maintenance. Okay? Now, preventive maintenance is a daily maintenance that could be considered as cleaning, inspection, oiling, and retightening. Okay? Or anything like in what do you call this one? Checking. Okay? What else? Lubricating. Okay? Testing. Those are part of that one. Designed to retain the healthy condition of equipment and prevent failure through the prevention of deterioration, okay, periodic inspection or equipment condition diagnosis to measure deterioration in a sense then. Okay? It is further divided into periodic maintenance and predictive maintenance. Just like human, life is extended by preventive medicine. The equipment service life can be prolonged by doing preventive maintenance. The preventive medicine that we are considering in here is actually vitamins, not antibiotics, ha? Okay, just to be specific. Kasi you might gonna think, sir, what type of medicine we should supposed to use on our body so that we may be able to say that we are applying preventive maintenance. That is actually vitamins. It's because whenever that you are addressing already a failure, then that means that it will not fall down under preventive maintenance. Same thing as well with aircraft or parts of the aircraft or components of the aircraft. Okay, if there is an occurrence of failure or it already um, considered as partial failure and then you repair it, then it means that it is considered as reactive maintenance or breakdown maintenance. Okay? So, yun lang naman ang difference. Now, if we are going to differentiate the two types of this one, we have periodic maintenance or also called time-based maintenance or also called scheduled maintenance. Okay? Scheduled, it's because you are doing the maintenance repetitively or in a routine manner. That's why it's scheduled. It could be done weekly, every day, or like daily, every other day. It could be done monthly, okay, every quarterly, okay, or every semi-annual year, or every year, or every 5 years, 10 years, or whatsoever that is associated with time, okay, is considered as preventive maintenance. Again, as long as it's not associated with a certain failure or faults or partial failure. Okay. Time-based maintenance consists of periodically inspecting, servicing, and cleaning equipment and replacing parts to prevent sudden failure and process problems. Okay. So again, as long as it is related to preventing maintenance, but in a sense of doing it in a routine manner, then it means that it is periodic maintenance or time-based maintenance. Nakukuha po ba? Okay.
Yes po, sir.
Okay. How about the others? Clarification, or is there any other concern? Baka meron. Kasi ako, I
So
have a
far po.
concern. So far naman wala. Okay tayo. Sige. Now, next, thank you for that. How about the second type? Predictive maintenance are also called unscheduled maintenance or condition-based maintenance. This is a method in which the service life of important part is predicted based on inspection or diagnosis in order to use the parts to the limit of their service life. Compared to periodic maintenance, predictive maintenance is condition-based maintenance. It manages trend values by measuring and analyzing data about deterioration and employs a surveillance system designed to monitor conditions through an online system. So, how are you going to apply predictive maintenance, sir? This is something that you are doing preventive maintenance, but not in a scheduled manner. That's why it's called condition-based maintenance. Okay, and um, how can you say that you are already doing predictive maintenance? In a sense of doing cleaning, servicing, testing, okay, or whatever that is related to preventive maintenance, in a sense of making diagnosis or monitoring in order for you to prevent the occurrences of the failure. So that you may be able to use those collected datas, okay, from the past, present, or until uh, uh, or the combination of the two, that is something can be used to prevent the failures in the future. Okay, so that is actually the difference in between the breakdown and preventive, and the difference between periodic and predictive. Okay, so again ha, you apply only breakdown when there is already an occurrence of failure. So meaning to say address the failure. And how about the preventive? You only apply preventive when there is no occurrence of failure, but in a sense of preventing the failure to happen. But again, failure can't be diminished, but only prevent the occurrences. Okay? So question po or clarification with this one. Meron po ba?
None, sir.
None. Sige, dagdagan na lang ni Sir muna for more clarification. Example, like what we talked about with the role of the mechanic. Okay? Checking damages, cracks, those are considered as preventive maintenance. Okay? If there is, okay, kung meron man. Or, for example, in a sense of um, trying to put all of the possible FOD within the vicinity area of the aircraft or something that is actually seen on the vicinity part of the apron of a certain aircraft. That is considered as preventive. What else? Checking the door seals if they are going to lock. Okay? Painting, like applying protective coating is also considered as preventive maintenance so that the corrosion may be prevented as much as possible. Okay, so those are actually such examples. Now, how about corrective maintenance? Now, corrective maintenance, this is a type of maintenance that is considered as holistic way or intensive way on how you are taking good care of the product or the item. It means that um, this will fall almost on the breakdown maintenance, but in a sense of doing preventive maintenance at the same time. Almost on the breakdown. Why? It's because the corrective maintenance is just correcting or replacing some parts that are not considered as like um, a failure or like a partial failure that is associated with repairing of the product that affects the intended function of a certain item. So meaning to say, you are applying preventive maintenance by doing what? Predictive maintenance in a sense of what? Monitoring and analyzing. Okay? Diagnosis. Okay? And then once you diagnose and you found a certain fault that is not associated with like a partial failure or affect the total failure of a product, then it means that you are applying corrective maintenance once you address it. So that's the only difference in between corrective and predictive. Kasi madalas na pag nagkakaroon ng confusion siya. In predictive, no failure occur. In corrective, you're doing the diagnosis and monitoring, but you are addressing the failure. Such failures, sir, like what? Okay, like for example, cuts on wires, hair cracks on the surfaces. Okay, what else? A little corrosion, dent. Okay, or if we are going to associate it with a body system of a person, meaning to say, for example, the nurses are actually doing the what do you call this one, corrective maintenance, because they are giving the holistic care as much as possible, in a sense of doing preventive maintenance by how, by giving medicines on time. Okay, by what as well, by checking your vital signs and whatsoever. Okay, blood pressures, but in a sense of addressing as well, if they may be able to find cuts, bruises, those are actually considered as um, failure, but it doesn't affect the total system of the body. So same thing as well with the aircraft. Ganon din po. Okay, as long as it is not associated with stopping the operation or affecting the operation of the systems of the aircraft or the total operation of the aircraft, then you are actually doing corrective maintenance. Okay? So, corrective maintenance is just it improves equipment and its components so that preventive maintenance can be carried out reliably. Equipment with design weakness must be redesigned to improve reliability or improving maintainability. So, sir, is this associated as well with doing replacements in a sense? Yes. Like, meron kasing non-repairable items to be considered. In a reciprocating engine like O-rings or compression rings. Those are things that can be repaired, okay? But something that you need to replace if it doesn't, um, what do you call this one? It doesn't fit anymore properly with the piston, okay? So something like that po. Nakukuha po ba natin siya? Okay. Are you getting the differences among breakdown, preventive, and corrective? Okay? Sige, isa-isay natin. So sa review, breakdown. You only apply breakdown when there is an occurrence of the failure, but it doesn't stop the total operation or production of the product or the item. Okay, in a sense of considered like partial failure because it affects the system of the equipment. Okay, preventive, you are applying this one, okay, to prevent the failure to happen. There should be no occurrences of the failure in order for you to call that the maintenance that you are applying is preventive. Okay. And you are doing corrective in a sense that you are increasing the reliability of the preventive maintenance, but in a sense of addressing such failures or minimal failures only that doesn't that is not associated with the production or the full full potential or intended function of the product. Okay, such as physical appearances. Okay, like dents, cracks, just like what I've told you, or um, wear out on the wirings of the electrical system. Okay, as long as it doesn't affect the operation of that particular system, then that is considered as corrective maintenance. But doing diagnosis and monitoring as well. Okay, nakukuha po ba natin? Question or clarifications? Do we have any?
Wala po, sir.
Wala. Okay. How about the others? Are we all good with this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay naman. Sige. Now, next. Thank you for that. Maintenance prevention. So when we are talking about maintenance prevention, from the word itself, maintenance prevention, you are doing preventive maintenance in a sense of doing already a repair or replacement, like maintenance. Okay. How are you going to carry out this one? It indicates the design of a new equipment, meaning you are searching for weakness of current machines that are sufficiently studied on-site information leading to failure prevention, easier maintenance, and prevents of defects, safety, and ease of manufacturing, and are incorporated before commissioning a new equipment. Meaning to say, maintenance prevention is carried out in planning to create a product. Okay, it is associated or part of the planning portion of creating a certain product or item or an equipment. It's because um, you are already putting everything into a test, but trying also to change or replace some of the parts that can be considered as a weakness or a fault already, and you are addressing it right away in a sense of replacing it or repairing it, and then rerun a test until you will be able to create a new equipment. Or in a sense of if you wanted to make an upgrade or new version of the equipment, then you are doing maintenance prevention because you wanted to address such weaknesses that is considered uh, as a failure on the product, and then you wanted to improve that product. For example, we have Boeing 777. Okay. So you apply maintenance prevention before you recreate another version of 777, which is what we call Boeing 777X. Why? It's because you corrected already a certain fault or weakness of the 777 that can no longer appear or occur on the function of the Boeing 777X. Okay? So again, you only apply maintenance prevention if you are actually creating a new version or upgrade on a certain product or item. Or for example, on cell phones, what is the main reason why we companies are keep on doing different versions of iPhones or even Android phones? It's because they wanted to improve the weaknesses. Okay, or studying those weaknesses or replace some parts and upgrade it to a new different version and call it another product. That's why we have, for example, from iPhone 12, now, magkakaroon na ng iPhone 13. Okay? For the Samsung, before they have S20, now they have S21. Okay? Something like that po. Hindi ko masabi dun sa tao kasi in a sense of that one, um, that is considered as immoral na when if you are recreating a person in a sense of creating a clone. So I can't say that I want you to that is associated with maintenance prevention. Maybe on the personality of the person in a sense of sinasabi nga ng iba, di ba? I am the version 2.0 of myself. Something like that. It's because you are searching for such weaknesses or faults within your emotional state or psychological part, and then you wanted to change that one in a sense of recreating yourself in another version. Okay? Something like that. The reason why I keep on using uh, uh, a person or body system of a person as an example so that if it's not possible for you to understand it clearly on an equipment or item, it's also possible for you to understand it in a sense of biology. Okay? Para lang may analogy tayo or comparison. Kasi baka mas madaling maintindihan. Okay? Nakukuha po ba when is the time that you are going to apply maintenance prevention? Okay, okay daw.
Yes po,
Someone
sir.
thumbs up. Okay, good. So thank you for that. Okay, next, last, we have 0 hours maintenance or what we call overhaul or overhauling. Okay, this means whenever that you are overhauling, it means like it's a carried out preventive maintenance in a sense. It's because you can't do an overhaul without putting it in a schedule manner. Kasi it stops the total operation of the product. Why? Um, it doesn't mean that you are addressing a certain failure, but you wanted to prevent a certain failure to happen. Okay? And it is associated as well with breakdown maintenance in a sense of there might be some faults or failures that you may be able to see or experience na by the equipment, and then you are also going to address it and associated with the scheduled time of approach or address on that one, and also associated with corrective maintenance in a sense of the time that you are doing the preventive maintenance by intensive examining or diagnosis, okay, or monitoring the entire parts, okay, group to group process, but addressing as well the problem. Okay, so it's a combination of the three. Okay, but in a sense of only, why is it called 0 hours maintenance? Is it actually, sir, pertaining to the zero total operating time? No. It's because whenever that you are conducting a maintenance or repair, talaga namang zero operating time. Why? It's because it's not possible for you to address a repair when it is actually moving or have its mechanism. Now, the 0 hours word in here is associated with the resetting the usage time of the product into 0 hours. Meaning to say, regardless that you use that one into 100 hours of time, okay, once you do the overhauling, you are considering as well that you are creating the product or not creating, but maintaining the product in a sense of putting it in a state of um, 0 hour time of use or putting it as brand new as possible or considered as a new equipment again. Okay. But not totally new equipment. It's because it's a different one because that is reinvention. But this one is actually just putting it in a 0 hours operation, 0 hours usage of time. That is also considered as like like a brand new, but not totally brand new. Okay. So now the set of tasks whose goal is to review the equipment at scheduled intervals before appearing any failure. That's why it's also associated with preventive. Okay. Either when the reliability of the equipment has decreased considerably, so it is risky to make forecasts of production capacity. This review is based on leaving the equipment to 0 hours of operation, that is, as if the equipment were new. These reviews will replace, okay, applying corrective maintenance and predictive maintenance at the same time. So replace or repair all items if it's possible. So applying breakdown if it is subjected to a wear. Okay, the aim is to ensure with high probability a good working time fixed in advance. So kaya associated with preventive, um, corrective maintenance and also breakdown maintenance. Sir, is it not associated with maintenance prevention? No. It's because maintenance prevention is whenever that you are recreating a new version of the product. Okay? But if it's something that you wanted to retain the product, but only making it as a new equipment or call it as brand new as possible, then that is an overhauling process. Nakukuha po ba natin? Okay. So meaning to say, whenever that you are doing an overhaul, lalo na if it is, if we are pertaining to the entire aircraft, it means that you are doing zoning tasks, inspection. Okay. Zone to zone. Okay. For every system, like airframe system, pneumatic system, hydraulic system, and whatsoever. Same thing as well if we are pertaining to the engine. Case to case basis, like um, every parts, like air inlet, compressor section, burn combustion section, turbine section, and exhaust section, and each of the parts of those by what? Cleaning, examining, diagnosis, okay, addressing such cracks, dents, okay, or if there are actually something that affects the operation or the full potential of the function, then repair, of course. And if it's not possible for you to repair, replace the parts. Okay? So yun lahat ang ginagawa for the overhauling process po. Okay? Clarifications or question. Sir, is it possible that this type of maintenance might overlap on a certain situation? Um, yes, it may, but again, that's the crucial part. You really have to determine of what type or kind of maintenance you are doing in a sense of how is your approach and when is your approach. That's the only difference. It's because again, all of them are actually associated with each other, or or, or connected. Okay, but they only differs on when and how are you going to execute the maintenance. Okay, pwede natin masabi in a sense of, for example, you just thought that um, you apply the breakdown maintenance. Why? It's because there is an occurrence of failure that affects the functioning of the product, but it doesn't stop the total operation of the product. Then on the other hand, the moment that you are actually addressing the failure, you'll be able to see such other faults that needs to be replaced. Then it means that you are also applying um, what do you call this one, corrective. And at the same time, if upon checking all throughout and examining some parts and running tests, um, you were able to see that it really needs to do an overhaul on the product because there are a lot of expected wear out, okay, or failure to occur on that particular item, or if it is actually really scheduled during that time, okay, as part of the overhaul process. Um, that's the time that they may overlap, but then again, still you are going to tell which is the specific maintenance that you applied on that one once you address it in a sense of how and when. Okay? So, when is the time that you're going to apply overhaul? Ito naman madalas, much probably requirement once a year. Okay? It's because it affects the profit loss. Eh. Okay? It's because the total operation will stop. Um, some of the aircrafts naman, kasi standard naman yun eh, are actually increasing the overhaul process in a sense of doing it twice a year. Possible like that. Okay? Or kung talagang G na G yung airline, they could make it thrice a year. But then again, suffer from profit loss, of course. Kasi it would take a lot of time for them to finish. It doesn't happen within an overnight. It could lead to, for example, months of doing the overhaul process. Whenever that you are considering doing an overhaul process with the entire aircraft or even the entire engine. Talagang ganun katagal. Depende po sa laki ng area na i-cover. Okay? Did I answer the question naman, Mr. Hernandez?
Sir, pwedeng mag-add lang dun sa tanong ko.
Sure, sure. Go.
Sir, what if, kunyari nga na una mong na-assess is, ano siya, for example, breakdown, and then yun pala, need pala ng bago. So, parang ang magiging type of maintenance na nun, sir, is parang pag need mo ng bagong instrument, ganun, magiging corrective or 0R, ganun na ba, sir?
Yes. I agree with that. Definitely you're correct. Okay? Parang initial lang kasi yun. It's a trial and error process whenever that we are actually doing diagnosis or monitoring. Para we may be able to know what is the most specific type of maintenance that we should supposed to use on that particular failure. Okay? Nasagot naman po ba? Did nagkaroon ba ng clarification with that one, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good. How about the others? Do we have other questions or concerns? Ano ang seryoso? Okay naman. Okay, sige. If there is none naman, okay, that's it only for today. I hope you learned something today, and rest assured, of course, there will be an activity one that is going to happen on Wednesday or Friday. Expect within the 2 days, okay? So I don't know if it's possible for me to give something on Wednesday, then I am going to give you an activity. Coverage will be everything that was discussed last week up until within this week. Okay, yun lang naman ang coverage. Sir, how many items? Probably 10 to 15 items. Okay? And score equivalent, either 20 points or 30 points. 2 points each po ako lagi. Okay? Pag hindi naman po, if it's not possible for me to give it with you on the Wednesday, okay, I'll try to ask you something to do during Wednesday, and then please be prepared on Friday na lang for your first activity. And then after that, we'll continue to discuss another different topic with the next week. Okay? So yun lang naman po for this day. Thank you so much for attending and listening and being cooperative. And that's it. Okay? Class dismissed and God bless you all. Thank you. Sir,
Thank
yung
you, sir.
activity po na 10 to 15 items counted as quiz? No, activity siya. Quiz is different.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ingat.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you po, sir.
Kapun ka.